do I move this to the next slide? So you don't have to look at my face. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your 4th anniversary of this event. DEI has been through so many changes in the last year. Do I have your understanding around that? And that's why you changed your title, right? Because, you know, who are we in this world that is kind of dismantling all the work around what it means to understand what diversity, equity, and inclusion is all about. So I will talk to you about solidarity through an intergenerational lens. So we talk about peers and connection, and I love what was said before me. Ms. Lidgard talked a lot about, you know, putting yourself, changing the whole concept of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, but I would say, put yourself in the shoes of people from a capacity of not wanting to be like them, but for you to understand who they are, right? So, because I know that whole fallacy around, I can understand you if I put myself in your shoes, instead of turning that around, so let me put myself in your shoes so that I can really understand what it means to be who you are from your perspective, not from my perspective. So I love that I piece, taking that away. And then Henry, you did my workshop I did this morning. I did a staff workshop in Howard County government. I work in Howard County government, and I did it around what's the difference between fitting in and belonging. And I had folks put 2 things on the board, 2 signs, and they had to decide what is fitting in and how is that different from belonging. So fitting in is taking yourself and trying to be what other people want you to be. That's the whole idea of fitting in. And belonging is coming as your full self with no apologies. And so when you start to cover yourself and not bring your full self like you said your friend did, that's called covering. You're covering who you really are. I'm a product of Howard County school system. I went to Mount Hebron, I went to Wild Lake, I graduated from Howard High. And I didn't cover the whole time I was in school, because I came as my full Baltimore self. I was proud of being Baltimore. Nobody could tell me that Baltimore wasn't a beautiful place, but I know that people walk around thinking that. And so how do I model loving where I came from in a way that helps other people understand that is your unconscious bias, not mine. So I defend Baltimore to the very, very being of my heart. But I want to talk to you about how can a person like me, who's a baby boomer, be in solidarity with young people like you, right? So I'm going to change the next slide here. So I did some investigating. And I know a lot of work that I do, I used to work with young people all the time. Now I work with adults. And I work with managers and directors, supervisors, to help them understand, like I said today, I did a session this morning. And what does it mean for us to create a sense of belonging in the cultures, in the communities, in the schools in which we live in and learn in? So I did some investigation, and I found solution circles were being held all over the country with young people who are intentionally bringing elders like myself in their circles to talk about the solutions that's happening in their communities. So when you said that you saw that there was a problem, right? So solution-focused circles are people who understand that there's a problem and we're only gonna come together to solve that problem. We're not coming together just to talk about the problem. And I see a lot of people just talking. We're gonna act on what we know about this problem. And a lot of problems that I see as the equity manager here in Howard County is that there's a lot of unhoused families here. Do we have solution circles within our schools where students talk about what it means to be unhoused in Howard County? Unhoused means that people do not have homes, they're homeless. But unhoused is a great way of saying it that's not making people feel bad about their backgrounds. And in a lot of your schools, you have homeless students here. They would never tell you that they're homeless because of the stigma. But how are we looking at solution circles so that you can solve a problem of how we make homeless and unhoused people feel like a sense of belonging here? I'm going backwards, because before you can have a solution circle, you must also lead by listening. like you were talking about. But not listening in a way that you're like, oh, that's horrible, right? Or you don't have any food. Right now we have a lot of food insecurity. Oh my goodness. So instead of listening with a sense of, I feel sorry for you, can we start to listen to say, I'm gonna do something about that? Can we listen and say, our students and the organization that we have here is going to be the model of all the other high schools in Howard County. We're working on unhoused students in our school, and we're gonna do it with a sense of pride and unapologetically. That's the action I would love to see happening in Howard County schools, right? Where students say, there is a problem. And the problem is that we're not listening to the experts of their own lived stories. So people who have those stories are experts of their stories. When you don't act on their stories, you're re-traumatizing people. Because people always want to be in focus groups. People always want to do focus groups. And when you ask those questions about how are you feeling, and they let you know that my family's going through food insecurity, and you sit there and nod your head and smile and walk away and do nothing, you're re-traumatizing them. So I'm saying stop doing your focus groups where you're not taking action. Because what they want you to walk away and say is, I'm gonna do something about what I just heard today. Does that make sense? And finally, because I know we only had 5 minutes to do some great things, is that I want you to see that the root of our relationships is to really authentically be in the presence of other people. And what does that mean? And what I see today is so beautiful. One person is videotaping me, so I know you're not on the phone, but I know our phones have been so distracting that we haven't been present for people because we've been on our phones. So authentically showing up and creating really fabulous relationships where we can join with people who are very different from ourselves. Hi, my fabulous person over there, Jessica. So what I want you to walk away with today in this wonderful session is that you're not just going to re-traumatize people when you talk to them and they share some deep stuff about their lives. You're going to have solution circles with your friends and with them involved and say, we're going to do something about it. We're not just going to let them walk away and help and make them feel sorry for what they just shared with us. Does that make sense? I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me.